Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you are doing well. Slight delay. We had a feline delay as Tabby wanted extra attention. Just as I was getting ready to set up the game, I had to move a lot of stuff around. Now she wants to go out the door. So I don't know what she wants. But as the old saying goes, whatever Tappy wants, Tappy gets. Just because she's a cat. That's the way it is. All right, so we are in Royal Stadium, Kauffman Stadium, Royal Stadium, whatever you want to call it. I guess I'm assuming in 1979 it was called Royal Stadium. And it's the New York Yankees and the Kansas City Royals. It's going to be a battle of left-handers, Larry Gura against Tommy John. We look at Royal Stadium / Kauffman Stadium. And we see that a lot of foul balls there. 5 to 15 is going to be a foul ball. So not much foul territory at Royal Stadium. So if you get a pop-up, it's most likely going to be a foul ball. Let's see. I think that just about fits everything in here. Let's see if I turn this sideways. That might actually be better, actually. I think this might actually work better to do it this way. That way I can see it better, and hopefully you can see it better too. All right. Hello, Dav, Ben, Kenyon, Brian. Good to see all of you. Okay, so first things first. As usual, I always forget something, so it wouldn't be a broadcast without forgetting something. So I need to have markers for each of the individual pitchers. We do our bullpen session. And for Larry Gura, we get a 5, so he's on his A grades. And for Tommy John, we get a 3. He's under his A grades. So both pitchers are on their A game, according to what they're telling me here. For some reason, this thing looks tilted, and I don't know why. Maybe I turn around a little bit better this way, perhaps, and close it in just to bring it up. Just a touch. Maybe that's better. I don't know. It needs to go this way a little bit, but I still can't get it to, well, that's about as good as it's going to get right there, I think. Just like that movie Jack Nicholson was in, as good as it gets. There you go. I guess this is as good as it's going to get. We'll live with that. We will live with that, I guess. So I guess since I did that, we'll go back and, I need to put this over here more. That's what I need to do. There we go. Boy, it's just, I have different setups for golf, baseball, or Strat-O-Matic, and for Fall Classic. So it kind of have to, yeah, I saw he does that, Ben. That's too complicated for me. I'm not going to do all that. He does a lot of complicated things. The only thing I did pick up from him was the 31 to make that a range check. But other than that, I don't do a lot of the other. I'm not going to do any other things that are just going to complicate things. I don't think 2 D20s would even fit in here very well. So, you know me, I'm old school. I'm less complicated. Keep things simple, stupid, as they say. I think I've already turned. I'm not turning. I think I already have turned into the get off my lawn guy, as I really don't like AI, and I really don't follow a lot of channels that use a whole bunch of AI because I really don't like it. But that's just my personal preference. Everybody each their own. If you love AI, go for it. It's just not my thing. I like the simpler things. All right, so now that Tabby's gone, I can get back to hopefully my regular presentation here. We have the team sheets for both the Royals and the Yankees standing by. So if you need to check an error, range, or whatever, that is available. So Mickey Rivers will lead things off. Oh, it is an interesting idea. I'm not mad at him for it. It's just a little bit more detail than I want to get into, is all I'm saying. All right. But if he enjoys it, hey, go for it. I mean, he's really immersed in his project, and that's wonderful. I think it's great that he's immersed in that. A lot of creativity there. All right, here's Mickey Rivers. Start us off. We get a 41. And a 41 on Larry Gura is going to be a walk. Larry Gura's walks, 41s are walks universally. I thought I had base running things, but I guess I don't. Thought I had them out already. Oh, there they are. So Mickey Rivers. Mickey Rivers is at first base via a walk. I don't think I have one for Kansas City, so what I'm going to have to do for Kansas City is when they're batting, I'll just flip the things over and make them plain white. But right here, Mickey Rivers is at first base after the walk. And that'll bring up Willie Randolph. And I'm also trying to score the game on the Action PC computer, so because I'm not scoring it on paper. So let's get that in there. All right, next up, Willie Randolph. 15, and that's going to be an out X, which means it could be a double play if it's a ground ball. That's a 12, and we go to runner on first out chart with a 12. And it's a pop-up to the white die. White die is a 5, so he pops it up to third, and there's one away. So it won't be a double play ground out because it's a pop-out. Pop-out to George Brett at third base. I'm sorry, Cruz at third base, rather. And that'll bring up Thurman Munson. 53, and that is a range check. KD's a 7, which is above his 3, so we will go to the range check. 65, that's the shortstop. So we're looking at Freddie Patek. And if we look at Freddie Patek for his range, Freddie Patek's range is only a 4. Not very good on his range. Fortunately for him, the D20 is a 3. So he will get to this. The question is it a double play? Well, the D20 is odd, so it is going to be a double play ground ball. So how about that? Giovanni's Tailor Shop, 6-4-3 double play turned by Freddie Patek and company. And we go to the bottom of the first. Yankees nothing, Royals coming to bat. Now Tabby's scratching to get back in. She doesn't know what she wants. That's all right. 5 minutes from now, she'll be scratching to go out again. So you never know. And I'm using her perch, and she's probably upset about that, but I'm using that for my book. Hoping she'll lay down on her blanket. That's the best thing to do. All right, so Willie Wilson will lead things off for the Kansas City. Oh, now she's crying until she gets her perch back. All right, hold on. Come on. All right, get up here. All right. I don't know why she... Just going to make it very inconvenient here, Tabby. Now I'm banging everything, trying to fit this book in here and where I'm sitting. I don't know why she's not interested at all until I get ready to stream, and then all of a sudden she's interested. I don't get it. It just happens to be the way it is. Can't explain it. But anyway, we will drive on now to the bottom of the first. And here is Willie Wilson. Willie Wilson, that's a 12, and that will be an out. D20 is an 11. Go back to bases empty. This is not the preferred way to play this game with all these charts in my lap like this, but I have to do what I have to do. We said it was an 11, so that is a grounder to the white die, which is a 2. So it is a grounder in front of the plate, and Thurman Munson throws him out 2-3 on the ground out. The ground out 2-3. And Willie Wilson is out of there. Brings up UL Washington. And we get a 15. 15 on UL is an out. That's an 11. Same result. White die is going to be a 5. So he grounds it out to third. Grounds it out to Nettles. And quickly, 2 up and 2 down. And that'll send up Amos Otis. Otis, my man. Center fielder. And we get a 26. I know it's kind of hard to see there. 26, that's a left-right split, and he is a righty facing a lefty, so he gets the base hit. So Amos Otis is aboard on a single, 2-out single. Of course, I'm using automated steal, so we won't steal unless there's a plus sign. And that'll bring up the designated hitter, George Brett. And we get a 14 under Brett. That's an out. And 11, boy, I'm rolling 11s like crazy. It's a ground out to the white die again, so it's going to ground it out to Randolph, and that'll end the inning. So nothing doing for the Royals in their half. Tabley is settled in on her perch, but which is, one way is good because she's quiet. The other way is really crimping my style. That is what I usually set these charts on to reference instead of them being in my lap. Maybe I put up here on the table. That gives me a better chance. I don't know. That's bumping into stuff, though. So, Tabby, you are just making things difficult here. All right. I think I'm going to forgo scoring this game. I'm just going to play it. It's just too much trouble to go back and forth from screen to screen with Tabby in the way. It's just not worth it. So we're just going to play the game. I'll keep the score, but I'm not worried about line score or any of that stuff. I'm just going to play the game and be done with it. Okay, top of the second, Lou Piniella. And we get a 25 under Lou Piniella. That's an out. The white die is a 5, so he grounds to third, 1 away. And now she decides to jump down, so now I might go back to scoring it. Still have the game open on the Action PC, so I can go back and score that result, which I would prefer to do. That way you have a final tally and whatnot. Hopefully it looks like she's going to lay down in a different area. There's a blanket over there she usually sits on she can have, and I don't know why she's not doing that, but she's a cat, so who knows. All right, here is Greg Nettles. We get a 56 under Nettles, and under Gura, A grade, 56 is a strikeout. Out number 2. And that brings up some guy I'd never heard of before named Darryl Jones. Has anybody ever heard of Darryl Jones? He had 47 at-bats, and he did start this game for the Yankees as a designated hitter. So I don't know. I know Reggie Jackson's on the disabled list at this point in time, but I'd never heard of Darryl Jones. But there he is. Darryl Jones hit, he hit 255 in 47 at-bats. So, lefty, and he is Darryl Jones is a right-handed hitter. So that's probably why they got him in there, I guess. 11, he's still going to be out on an 11. That's how bad he is. The line out is to the white die, which he wants to line out to left field. And that's 1 away. Make it 2 away now as he flies to left field. And now we bring up, or was that out number 3? That was out number 3, wasn't it? Certainly was. So we go to the bottom of the second. And we're going to have Darryl Porter lead off. I remember Lynn Jones. I've heard of him. I remember Lynn Jones. I just don't remember this other guy. Lynn Jones, I remember him playing for the Tigers and the Royals back in the mid-'80s. All right, here is Al Cowens. I don't know why Darryl Porter is sitting there. It should be Al Cowens, because Brett made the last out last inning, so I don't know why I moved those cards so fast. It should be Al Cowens. Not to be confused with Al Cowling. 15, and that's an out. 3, and that's a ground ball to third. 1 away. So maybe we can get something done now that Tabby's out of the way and I got my charts where I want them, and I'm back in somewhat normal activity. Here's Darryl Porter. 26, that's a lefty-lefty, and he's going to be an out, and that's a 17, so he flies to left. Porter flies to left. 2 quick outs, and that's going to bring up John Wathen doing the catching. Whoop, that red dot didn't go through. Let's redo this. 64, and 64 is going to be on Tommy John an out G. That's a 9. So the original chart would be an out fly to right, but since he's a couple pitcher, it is an out G. And with a right-handed batter, it's a ground out to short, code 6. It's a ground out to short. So that incorporates the ground ball pitchers. And now we go to the third inning. Still no score from Royal Stadium in the Poly Turf at Royal Stadium. All right, here's Chris Chambliss. Hello, Clinton. The date of this real game, I believe, is June the 9th, but let me verify it for you. Yes, June the 9th, 1979. Yankees won the real game. I'm sorry, Royals won the real game in extra innings, 9-8. Willie Wilson hit an inside the park home run to walk it off. All right, here is Chris Chambliss. Lefty, and we got a 34 for Chambliss, which up here is going to be an out under the A grade, and that's a fly to center, 1 away. So 1 away, and due up for the Yankees will be switch hitting Roy White. And we get a 61, and under Gura's A grades, that's a strikeout. 2 up, 2 down. Both pitchers, pardon the pun, are on their A game, literally and figuratively. And here's Bucky Bleepin' Dent. That's a 64, and that's another out. 13 is a ground out to short to end the inning. Very easy inning for Larry Gura. Because of the double play in the first inning, he has faced the minimum. Go to the bottom of the third, no score. And for the Royals, it'll be Freddie Patek leading things off. Oh, that's right. I remember Cliff Johnson had some sort of fight with Goose Gossage. I kind of remember that a little bit. So they needed a right-handed DH. All right. And in 79, I'm guessing Columbus was still their AAA affiliate. Or it might have been Syracuse still. I'm not sure who. But they called him up from AAA, obviously. Here's Patek. 44. That's going to be a base hit, and there's a plus sign, which means he has to try to steal. So Patek will single, and he'll have to steal because of the plus sign using the automated stealings. So Patek, first of all, we'll look at the catcher arm of Thurman Munson. Look at his arm rating. It is listed as a strong arm. Strong arm, that S there. Strong arm for Thurman Munson. So that means we're going to take 2 away from Freddie Patek's steal number. Patek's steal number is only a 10. He was 11 of 23. So now it drops down to an 8. So it's a 1-8 for him to steal it. And he's out. So Patek is caught stealing. And that will go 2-4 with the right-hander at the plate. That means Randolph was covering second. And that's the first out of the bottom of the third. Here's Todd Cruz, more known for being with the Oriole World Series team in 1983. That's another 44, and that's a single 1-16. That's a 15, so that's a base hit. Base hit for Todd Cruz. 1 out single. Good afternoon, Robert. Good to see you. Here's Willie Wilson. We're back to the top of the order. 14 for Wilson is an out, and that's a 1. Runner at first. Ground ball to the pitcher. White die's a 1. Runner's advanced. White die's not a 1. Fielder's choice, 1-6. So Wilson is the new runner. So fielder's choice. Actually, it's 1-4 because he's a righty. Book says 1-6, but with the right-hander up there, it's going to be 1-4. Wilson, the new runner. 2 down for UL Washington in his toothpick. 33, and he singles on a 1-10. That's a single. Now we need to roll and see what the single advancement's a 6. So runner on first and a 6. Right fielder advances to third at faster average runner of 2 out, all advance. So it's a 2-out single. So that means if it's runners on the corners, as Willie Wilson motors over to third base. Runners on the corners and 2 outs, what they call a clutch situation coming up for AO, Amos Otis. Otis, my man. 61, and that's going to be a strikeout for Tommy John, and he'll leave 2 on base. So Tommy John with the strikeout. Takes care of business. After 3 complete, we got no score from Royal Stadium. And back to the top of the order for the Yankees, it'll be Mickey Rivers. It's a 34 for Rivers, and that's going to be an out onto the A grade of GOW. And we go back to runner on, or bases empty with an 11, and that is going to be a ground ball to the white die, which is a 4. So he grounds it to Frank White, and to UL Washington, who's at second base today. Not Frank White, but UL Washington. So Rivers grounds to Washington, 1 away, and here's Willie Randolph. That's a 62, and that's going to be an out with a 3, and he is a right-handed hitter, so he's going to ground it to third. Easy play for Todd Cruz, 2 down. For Thurman Munson, he hit into a double play his first time up. That is a 45, and that's going to be a out. 16 is going to be a grounder to short again. That will end the inning. 3 up, 3 down for GOW. We go to the bottom of the 4th, still no score from Royal Stadium. Due up for Kansas City, it'll be the designated hitter, George Brett. That's a 42, and that's going to be an out. It's a 7, fly ball to left. Neither team can get anything going offensively. Here's Al Cowens. We get a 14 for Cowens. That's an out. Fly ball to center. Hauled in by Mickey Rivers. 2 down. You hear humming, it's the air conditioner in the window. It's 90 degrees right now, so, and I'm upstairs, so heat rises. So kind of had to have it unless I want to, start sweating or whatever. Here's Darryl Porter. 24, and that's a hit by pitch on a 1-8. That's a 3. Porter is hit by a pitch, but he has to steal. There's that plus sign, and his stolen base rating is only a 9, but with the strong arm of Munson, it reduces it to a 7. So it's a 1-7, and he has to attempt the steal on a 1-7. And how about that? He steals it. Darrell Porter beats the odds and steals the base. He's at second base. Stolen base for Darrell Porter. He had 3 steals, got caught four times. But here he gets the stolen base, gets himself into scoring position with 2 outs, and it sets it all up for John Wathan in the clutch situation. 64, and that's going to be an out G. So with the runner at second and 11, is a ground out anyway. And it's ground out to the white die of 4, second base. So he grounds to Randolph, and that will end the inning. So that does it for the Royals. They come away empty-handed. We go to the 5th, no score. Tommy John can face 35 batters. Gura can face 28. Here's Sweet Lou Piniella, 45, and that's going to be an out, and that's a 3 with the bases empty, which is a ground ball to third for a right-handed hitter. Todd Cruz. Over to Brett. Actually, Brett's at first base, not a DH. He's at first base. That was stand corrected. Brett's playing first today, not DH. DH is Darrell Porter with Wathan catching. Here's Nettles, 55, and that's a 1 for a triple, 2 to 4 is a single, 5 to 12 is a walk. Otherwise, he's out. That's a 17, so he is out. And it's going to be a 4, so he's going to ground to second for out number 2. Rounds it to UL Washington. The Royal infield in this game is Cruz at third, Patek at short, Washington at second, and George Brett at first, with Willie Wilson in left, Amos Otis in center, Al Cowens in right, and John Wathan behind the plate with Darrell Porter as the DH. So 2 outs, and there's that guy again, Darrell Jones. 36, and that's going to be an out, and that's an 11. It's been a popular number, that number 11. And this one's a ground ball to short with that white die being a 6. And again, 1, 2, 3 inning for Larry Gura. Go to the bottom of the 5th. Freddie Patek will lead things off. And for the Yankees, Roy White's in left, Rivers in center, Piniella in right, Nettles at third, Den at short, Randolph at second, Chambliss at first, Munson behind the plate, and Tommy John, pitcher, with Mr. Jones as DH. 53, we got a range check because the KD is way too high. His KD is only a 3, so we got a range check on the Yankees. And we get a 36. The range check is on the shortstop, Bucky Bleeping Dent. Check his range. His range is a 15, and that's a 10, so he'll easily get to that and throw out Patek. Could almost feel like you could maybe homebrew this to reduce the range by 1 or 2 on AstroTurf. I don't know if anybody's ever thought of doing that, but obviously when a ball gets grounded on AstroTurf, it's going to get through faster. But maybe that's baked into his range already. I don't know. So don't want to overthink it. Here's Todd Cruz. 26, that's a left-right split, and Cruz gets the base hit being a righty, and it's a plus sign. He's going to have to steal. Yankees are 1 for 2 on stolen bases today. Todd Cruz has a 0 stolen base, so he's going to get caught stealing automatically. There's no, because Munson's a -2, so I don't even know if what you do with that. I guess it's an automatic caught stealing. I don't know. I don't see any reason to roll any dice. There's nothing on here that says that it's going to be anything otherwise. I mean, I'll just roll it for general purpose. 15, he's out. So he's out of there. Todd Cruz caught stealing. That's going to go 2 to 4 again. So 2 away, back to the top of the order for Willie Wilson. 42 for Wilson, and that is an out. A number 2 to fly to center. And that will end the inning. Nothing but goose eggs through 5 innings here. Both pitchers, like I said, literally and figuratively on their A games. And it's been several times where the A result has resulted in an out versus what would have been a hit. So the A grades have come into play several times, at least for Larry Gura, I know for sure. All right, here's Chris Chambliss. 15 for Chambliss. He's out, and that's going to be a grounder to short. Patek will throw him out, one away. And that brings up Roy White, the switch hitter. That is a 25, and Roy White is out, and that's an 11. 11 has been very, very popular today, and that's ground ball to third. Todd Cruz will throw him out. 2 down for Bucky Dent. That's a 44 for Dent, and that's a single. First hit of the game. There goes the no-hitter. In the 6th inning, he loses the no-hitter in the 6th inning on a 44 for Bucky Dent, which is a single. So it took the number 9 hitter to get the first hit for the Yankees. And let me make sure. I don't think there was a stolen. Nope, there's no stolen base requirement there. So Mickey Rivers will step to the plate. 64, and that's going to be an out with a 19. That's a fly to right to end the inning. But the no-hitter is dispatched. And we go to the bottom of the 6th. Still no score. Yankees have 1 hit, and the Royals have scattered 5 hits. But can't get anything done. UL Washington will lead it off. That's an 11 for UL, and he's out. That's a 2. So he flies to center. Mickey Rivers hauls it in. 1 down. Next week we'll be at Tiger Stadium for the California Angels taking on the Detroit Tigers. That'll be next Saturday. There's AO. Amos Otis, 65. That's a home run, and there are no reductions here. Tommy John's home run number is a -4. Is that what it says? -4? So it's going to take this and -4. That's a 5. So he minuses 4, makes it a 1. Is that right? No, it doesn't make any sense. Now I'm confused. Now I'm confused on this one. I don't think I've ever hit this one before, so somebody may have to explain this to me. This is the roll. That's the roll on a 65. And Tommy John, looks like to me he's got a -4 here. But what am I subtracting the 4 from? What am I subtracting the 4 from? If I subtract it from the 5, it becomes a 1, but then what happens? This is where I'm a little bit confused. For some reason, I'm drawing a blank here as to what to do. So I don't know if somebody that can play that's played this game can chime in and tell me what I'm obviously overlooking, because obviously I'm overlooking something. Don't know. Because I may just have to call it a fly out because I don't know what else to do with it. Or re-roll, one or the other. But it says home run P, and that's a 5. So Dan says he's out. All right, how are we determining that? That's what I'm not sure of. Oh, because, are you saying because he's a minus? Well, like if it was Gura, minus, that's a 1 to 11, that would fit. But here, so it's ground ball to third, but why is he out, I guess is the question. Are you saying here on his A and B grades he can never give up a home run? Is that what that minus means? That Tommy John, as long as he's under his A and B grades, can never give up a home run. He can only give up a home run on this part here. So, okay, so that's what it looks like it's saying. So to me, he must have given up very few home runs because he's only got a 1 or a 2 under his C grades. is A grade and B grade are negative numbers. So you're saying it's a ground ball to third because of the 5. Okay, ground ball to third works for me. I just want to make sure I'm straight on this. Let me look at John's statistics. Does it give us home runs allowed here? He's got a 0 per 9 innings for home runs. So he must have allowed like maybe 1 or 2 home runs the whole year in 276 innings. I don't know how many home runs he gave up, but obviously it was a low percentage. Yes, you take the 4 off the home run split for 66 as well. So even if the guy has a straight 66, which would be a 20, you take 4 off of that, and if you roll a 17, then even a 66 by itself up here would not be a home run. So if I'm looking at that correctly. All right, so with that in mind, it is just a ground ball to third for Amos Otis. It's all that for a ground ball to third, but like I said, when you don't play this game but once a week, you can run into things that don't always come up. So it's 2 down, base is empty, and we're looking at George Brett, the first baseman. And that is a 52, so we have an error check. Error check. Hello, Philip. Error check. And the error is a 63, so it's an error check on Bucky Bleeping Dent. That's a 15. Dent's error rating's only a 5, so he will make the play, and that will end the inning. So that's going to do it for the Royals. And through 6 innings of play, we got no score. Heading to the 7th of a scoreless tie. I agree, Brian. Tommy John should be in the Hall of Fame. Should be no question about it. I don't know why he's not in there. Doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, to me, he is right there with Jim Cott and some of the others that pitched for a lot of years and whatnot. I mean, he's got a surgery named after him, for crying out loud. He can almost go in just for that. But he certainly should be in there for his pitching prowess. Maybe one day, what will probably happen is he'll get in after he passes away. Is what will probably happen. I mean, if he didn't have his surgery, he didn't have 300 wins. He missed 1 year because of the surgery, and without that, he would have had 300 wins. So, hello, Dr. D. Here's Randolph, 61 for Randolph. That's a strikeout for Gura. And for Larry Gura, that is his 3rd strikeout of the game. Not much of a strikeout pitcher. He only struck out 85 in 234 innings. But he gets the K there, and here's Thurman Munson. 26, that's a left-right split, so Munson gets the base hit via the left-right split. So a base hit for Munson, only the 2nd hit of the game for the Yankees. 1-out single for Lou Piniella, Sweet Lou. Thank goodness Tabby settled down, or else I don't know if I'd ever got this game underway. 51, and that's going to be an error check because the 11's higher than the KD, so we're looking at an error check on somebody for the Royals. And it's a 32, so we're looking at an error check of George Brett at first base. Look at Brett's numbers as a first baseman on the team sheet, and Brett's error is a 20, so he's going to make the error all the time. That will be a 1-base error. I believe it's a 1-base error. Let's see, 32. Yep, 1-base error. So Brett boots it, and the Yankees have runners at first and second. First and second, 1 out. And here's Greg Nettles. That's a 15 for Nettles. He's out, and there's an X. So it's a possible double play if it's a ground ball. That's a 10. We go to first and second out chart and look at what the 10 is. The 10 is a line out. So it won't be a double play. It's a line out to the white die, which in this case is a 5, which is the right fielder. And there's 3 stars or 3 asterisks by it, which says runner on second tags and goes to third. So it's a fly to right. The runner on second does tag and go to third. So Munson, it's deep enough for Munson to tag up and go to third base. And now with 2 outs, runners at the corners, clutch situation for this guy, Darryl Jones, the obscure Darryl Jones. Jones. .43, he's out. That's a 7, fly to left, ends the inning. So we go to the 7th inning stretch. Why is this thing not writing here? Come on, start writing. There we go. 7th inning stretch, still no score. So we go to the bottom of the 7th. Due up for the Royals. They will send Al Cowens. 45, and that's going to be an out G. So it will be a ground out instead of a fly out. As Tommy John is a ground out pitcher. It would have been a fly to right, but with the G, we use the code number 6, which is a ground out short. So I kind of like how it incorporates these ground ball outs when they're appropriate. There's Porter, and 11 for Porter. He's going to draw based on balls. So the walk by Tommy John to Darryl Porter. Brings up John Wathan. That's a 53, so we got a range check on somebody for the Yankees. That is a 33, so we're checking the range of the first baseman, Chris Chambliss. Check Chambliss's range based on the team sheet. Actually, got his card right here in front of us. The card's right here. It makes it easier. Range, he is a 12. He is a 12 on his range. I can get to focus right. He is a 12 on his range. Chris Chambliss, he's a 12. That's a 17, so he can't get to it. That's a base hit. So, failed range check on a 33. Let's see here. It says infield single on the 33, so just 1 base advancement. Runners at first and second. AstroTurf must have been coming into play. First and second, 1 out for Freddie Patek, little Freddie Patek. 62 for TJ. That's an out, and that's an 18. Should be a fly to center. We'll see if anybody can move up. 18. Let's see here. White die 1. No, the white die is not a 1. Fast run on second can run with risk. Well, the runner on second is Porter. He is not fast. He's average. So he has no option to run with risk. He will have to hold where he is. And now Todd Cruz comes up in a clutch situation. 2 outs and 2 on, but nobody in yet for either team. Todd Cruz. He is the 27th batter for Tommy John to face. He can face 35. 64, we are going to an out G. So that's an 18, but instead it's going to be a out G with a right-handed batter, which goes again to code 6, ground ball to short. And that's going to end the inning. So 7 innings, no score from Royal Stadium. Now let me look at the box score real quick and see how many batters. Let's see. Gura has faced 24. John has faced 27. So Gura can face 28, so he's still good for at least 1 more inning. And Chris Chambliss will lead it off. Lefty, lefty. We get a 62. That's an out with a 12. Go back to bases empty. And a 12 is a pop out to the white die, which is a 2. So he pops it out to the catcher, John Wathen. 1 away. And that sends up Roy White, switch hitter. Can anybody score is the question. 43, that's an out. 16, that'll be a ground out to short. 2 down. 2 up, 2 down for Bucky Bleeping Dent. Bucky Dent, 41. That was a 3 there. 41 for Bucky Dent is a walk. So Bucky Dent will draw the 2-out walk. And now this is the 28th batter that Larry Gura will face. After this, he's got to be careful of fatigue. So here's Mickey Rivers. 24, and that's a hit by pitch on a 1-2, but that's a 14, so it will be an out. And the out will be a fly to right to end the inning. So Larry Gura has faced his 28 batters. Not sure if we want to bring him back for the 9th or use somebody from the bullpen. See how it plays out. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Tommy John will face, actually I forgot to move Todd Cruz, Willie Wilson, top of the order. The Action PC computer is telling me Tommy John looks strong, whatever that means, I guess by their fatigue. So here's Wilson, 34, and that's going to be a base hit. Base hit Willie Wilson. Maybe the Yankee bullpen might need to start moving about. And speaking of the Yankee bullpen, these are the arms available for the Yankees. They have 1 lefty in the bullpen, Jim Cott, and they have 3 right-handers, Ray Burris, Ken Clay, and Ron Davis. There is no Gossage. He's on the injured list. So Ron Davis is their quote-unquote closer. He had 9 saves. So he would be their quote-unquote closer. But Willie Wilson is aboard, and here comes UL Washington. He is a 5 bunter, and I don't usually like to bunt, but to me this is almost, I wouldn't say mandatory bunt, but it's pretty doggone close to it. And he is a 5 bunter. So we're going to roll on the bunt. And that is a 1. That was a 1. Oops, just hit it with my finger. It was a 1. So that means it goes to the first baseman, Chambliss. Now 1-5, he gets it down correctly, which he does. So it's a good sacrifice to Chambliss. Chambliss will just tag the runner coming up the line, 3 unassisted. And now the go-ahead run with 1 out is in scoring position with excellent speed. Willie Wilson has that F with the exclamation point on it. So that really, really good speed. Here's Amos Otis. It'll be Otis and Brett coming up. Against Tommy John. 45, and that's going to be an out G. That's a 3 with a runner at second, so it should be a ground out to first, I would imagine. And that's exactly what it is. Ground out to, well, actually, I take it back. With a right-handed batter, it's a ground ball to third, says runners hold. So since he's right-handed, he grounded it to Nettles, and that freezes the runner, Willie Wilson, at second base. So now it's down to George Brett. And George Brett, first base is open, and George Brett is a really, really good hitter. Al Cowens is not chump change either. So I don't know, any armchair managers, would you dare walk George Brett to pitch to Al Cowens? Maybe bring in a right-handed reliever to face Al Cowens, or would you go lefty-lefty with Brett? Any feedback, or else I'll just figure it out on my own. I would ask Tabby, but she's sleeping, so I can't get her feedback. That's correct, Ben. It only takes one hit to do so. He is 0 for 3 today. So you know what? Tommy John says, well, now Ben says walking. And Mr. Sports Time Machine says walking. But Dan says stick with the A lefty. Is that if I walk him and he brings up a right-handed hitter, but it only comes up on the 26. So they're going to walk Brett intentionally and take their chances with Al Cowens. Al Cowens is also 0 for 3 on the day, and they're just going to hope he doesn't roll a 26. That's the big thing. They're going to hope they don't roll a 26. This is not real. This cannot be real. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? You saw it. You saw it right there. When you think the left-right split isn't going to come up, it bites you in the ass. Base hit. It's a 2-base advancement on the left-right split, and the Royals lead it 1-0. Al Cowan says, go ahead and walk George Brett and see what happens. So here's Darryl Porter. John, might as well go ahead and finish out the game. 45, and that is going to be an out G. 16, runners on the corners. 16 is a ground out to short, and that will end the inning. But the all-important run right there ends the inning. But not before the Royals take the lead 1-0 on a 26 well, I listened to the crowd, and I shouldn't have listened to the crowd. That's the problem. Yeah, left-right factoring bit me in the butt, Ben. Sure did. Now, let's look at the Royal bullpen, who they have available. From the right-hand side, they have Eduardo Rodriguez, Marty Patton, and Renee Martin. But the closer is the Mad Hungarian, Al Hrabowski. So they're going to bring in Al Hrabowski. Larry Gurr would qualify for the win, but they're going to bring in Hrabowski for the save, or at least attempted save, and see if he can't finish things off. So Hrabowski is in. We're facing Randolph, Munson, and Piniella, all righties, but he is your closer, so we go with the closer here in this situation. We'll roll for the bullpen session for Hrabowski. That's a 10, so he's under his B grades. That is a 45, and that's going to be a walk. Wait a minute, what does it say? Wild pitch walk. This is interesting. I'm assuming if somebody had been on base, it would be a wild pitch followed by a walk. And I'm assuming in our case, it's just a walk. Or if there's no wild pitch, do you ignore it and go to the out? I'm assuming it's just a regular walk because it's followed by that. And now potential spam. Should I call back the potential spam? Should I call this guy back on the air? See if the number. See the number's popping up right there. See that number? I should call that number back. What do you think? We'll let it go. All right, so it is a walk. So Willie Randolph draws the base on balls on Al Hrabowski. Leadoff walk. It's not something you want to have happen when you got the lead. Yeah, I don't mess with them, Ben. I just delete them and ignore them. The way technology is, and they can backload on you, and next thing you know, they've got all your information, so I'm not even going to mess with it. Just don't think it's worth it. So now here is Thurman Munson. 15, and Munson is out, and that's an X. Possible double play. He's already hit into one double play today. He could do it again. So the 2 is a fly ball to center field, so he caught a break. It will not be a double play. It'll be a fly to center. So Munson catches a break with that 2 there, or else that would have been a double play guaranteed. So 1 away, and that's going to send up Sweet Lou Piniella, 36, and for Hrabowski, that's a out with a fly out, so that's a 5 with a runner at first. 5 is a ground out, but with an F code, it's a fly to center because he's got that F on his card. It's a fly out to represent a fly ball pitcher. So he flies out to center field, and now it's all down to Greg Nettles. Last chance for the Yankees. If not, then the Royals will shut them out 1-0. 51, and we have an error check. As the KD number is too high. So we do have an error check. That is a 12, and that's an error check on Hrabowski himself. So Hrabowski's error number is a 20. He's going to make an error automatically. He's a 20. So that's a 2-base error. Are we back is the question. I think we are. I think we're back. Pretty sure we are. There's my hand. I can see my hand moving, so that's good. All right. So I think the last thing that happened was the 2-base error on Hrabowski. And we were getting ready to have Greg Nettles bat. Ben, are you saying you cannot hear me or you can hear me? Still seems like it's rather shaky with the stuff here. You can. Okay, I'm fine. All right. All right, so 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. Greg Nettles at the plate. I lost the game off the Action PC computer because I had to shut down. I don't know if the Action PC computer will save that for me. I don't think it will. I think I just lost everything I just did. So I don't have the totals anymore because I'm not scoring on paper. I'm scoring on the computer. And if this doesn't come up, then we'll just forget about it. All right. So no more time to waste here. By the way, if you are borderline, okay. If you're so inclined, tonight at roughly 8 o'clock, we'll have the final round of the Bay Hill Invitational, Arnold Palmer's tournament on History Maker Golf. After 3 rounds, Scotty Scheffler has the lead. All right, so here is Greg Nettles against Hrabowski, lefty-lefty matchup. 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. Tyne runs at 3rd, go-ahead runs at 2nd. Hrabowski, a 42, is going to be a walk. It's going to load the bases. And here comes that man again, Darryl Jones. Now, let's look at the Yankee bench and see who they have available. I would think if you're the Yankees, you might be looking at bringing in Cliff Johnson to pinch hit here because he gets the lefty-righty split but 2 ways. So they could bring in Cliff Johnson to pinch hit. They also have Spencer Beniquez, Jerry Narin, Fred Stanley, and Jay Johnstone. But we're going to bring in Cliff Johnson to pinch hit with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Now the question is, do you bring in a righty if you're the Royals and not trust Hrabowski with all those walks? Let's see here. They're actually going to pull Hrabowski and go to Rennie Martin. So Martin will come on, try to get out of the mess that Hrabowski put them in. And we'll roll a bullpen session for Rennie Martin. He's a C grade. That's not good either. So Martin is a C grade pitcher. Bases are loaded, 2 outs. Cliff Johnson. Do they pull Cliff Johnson and go to a lefty now that they brought in a right-hander? Don't know that they have. Well, they got Jim Spencer. He's pretty good. So they're going to pull Cliff Johnson and bring in Jim Spencer to pinch hit. He also has the left-right split twice. So Jim Spencer is going to come on and try to give the Yankees the lead, or at worst tie the game. So here's the pitch from Martin to Spencer. Martin is on his C grades. Bases loaded, 2 outs, top of the 9th, down 1-0. 63, and that's a strikeout, and that's a ball game. So all that to come back and have a strikeout to end the game, and the Royals win it 1-0. 1-0 over the Yankees as the Yankees leave the bases loaded. I don't know why I had these guys upside down. I should have the Yankee thing on there. That was dumb, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Royals win it 1-0. And the only run of the game came on Tommy John walking George Brett and facing Al Cowens. And Al Cowens getting that magical 26 roll, which was a single against a left-handed pitcher, and that produced the run, and that did it. So the Royals win it 1-0. Next Saturday we'll be in Detroit at Tiger Stadium for the game between the California Angels and the Detroit Tigers. That'll be on the replay date there is June the 16th. Tonight at 8 o'clock, like I said, we'll be live streaming the final round coverage of the Bay Hill Classic on History Maker Golf. If you're so interested in that, I'll be on roughly about 8 o'clock. I have not played the front 9 yet. I will do that later this afternoon so that by 8 o'clock we'll be all ready to go. So sorry about the little snafu there with the technology, but hey, that's what happens when you deal with technology. I'll blame it on the spam call that came in. Maybe it threw everything off. I don't know. I don't think Tabby had anything to do with it. She's over there sleeping. So that's going to do it from here. Until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I'll see you all down the road.